What are the companies asking from you at the moment, and what are you advising in terms of the uncertainty?
Well, what they're asking for is certainty, and we saw over the weekend that the president very quickly moved to a separate jurisdiction for tariff legitimacy. But I think the broader question is, what's the long term going to look like? Companies, as we've been discussing, need certainty in order to make investment decisions. Our trading partners are looking for certainty. The news about the suspension of the trade talks between the U.S. and India is of concern. The EU suspending, moving forward on the trade agreement between the EU and the U.S. Also of concern. The certainty we're looking for is part of a broader question of the strategy of the United States. And the Trump administration has been very focused on encouraging investment in manufacturing here, encouraging construction of data centers, encouraging export of AI technology from the United States to the rest of the world. Tariff strategy has a lot to do with that. Tariffs are good tactics in a lot of negotiation, but they're not a broader strategy to encourage the kind of investment that we're looking for. So what the tech industry is looking for going forward is a lot more certainty.
And just think of how Nvidia is part of your Information Technology Industry Council, and how they have earnings and how they need foreign investment to come in and help build the data centers where their GPUs are going in the United States. Jason, do you think ultimately we will come to some sort of agreement? How long can CEOs navigate in this era of uncertainty?
Well, we do have to come to some level of certainty. And as you noted, foreign investment in the United States is a significant part of the manufacturing story. We've seen investment not only in semiconductor infrastructure announced here in the U.S. from companies around the world, Taiwan, Korea, and elsewhere, but we've also seen investments in large data center projects, hundreds of billions of dollars of investment coming from outside the United States. That's very important. But equally important to that is that tariffs can be a deterrent to the necessary inputs into that infrastructure. Whether we're talking about the construction of data centers and the inputs that are necessary for the construction there, or what goes into the data centers, the semiconductors and other components, or we're talking about the energy infrastructure, including upgrades that are necessary to the transmission grid and the equipment that comes from around the world for that. That's important to make sure that tariffs don't interfere with those kind of investments. And then the flip side, of course, is anything that's made in the United States, 95% of the world's consumers don't live in the United States. It needs to be exported to the rest of the world. I just came back from India yesterday from the AI Impact Summit, and there's a lot of conversation there about how AI from the United States can be exported to the rest of the world. Tariff infrastructure can interfere with that as well. We want to make sure that works.
Jason, one big piece of news this morning is the European Union basically freezing the ratification process on a deal it already reached with the United States. Just in the context of imports, the EU is 20% of US imports. The collective wisdom of your council, how long do you expect this uncertainty and this kind of halt to things that already were in play?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Ed. And we saw it in India as well. They had a delegation scheduled to come this week to the United States, and India and the U.S. had a great onstage moment in Delhi this week talking about moving AI forward. How long will this last? I don't know. The president announced the use of Section 122 that has a 150-day cap on it. Obviously, the administration is looking at what the tariff strategy is going to be going forward. I think as far as the tech industry is concerned, resolving these issues both on the physical trade issues that we've been talking about, but also digital trade. The trade market between the U.S. and the EU in digital trade is close to $1 trillion. It's an enormously important market there, too. We need that uncertainty resolved as quickly as possible so we can move forward with these trade deals, which in many cases have already been negotiated. We're just waiting for them to be signed.
Jason, if you and your fellow council members could be in a room with the president today, what's the first thing you'd ask him for or to do?
Yeah, I think it's recognition that tariffs are bad for investment in the kind of things that the administration has prioritized. Look, since April, since Liberation Day last year, the landscape has changed significantly for what the administration is hoping to advance. The administration has a very clear, very sound, very direct strategy here, and that is to encourage AI adoption around the world of American AI technology. And that requires investment in manufacturing in the U.S. It requires investment in data centers in the U.S. It requires a robust semiconductor industry here in the U.S. And tariffs interfere with the ability of manufacturers and digital trade to take place between here and the rest of the world. So the one ask of the administration is, as they reevaluate the trade and tariff strategy, and I think this Supreme Court decision gives them an opportunity to do that, they need to look at what the broad broader goals are, what the broader strategy is to encourage investment in AI in the U.S., the adoption of AI technology around the world, and how tariffs would interfere with the ability of that to be a successful strategy.